All right, we're live.
Are we?
We are. It's been so long since we've done this. I think it was. Do you remember what it was?
I don't. It feels like it's been at least 2
months.
A
month. Probably 2 months. Yes. Hi everyone. We're live. It's another Watch It Played live Q&A. We call it a Q&A, but it's really just
just an A.
It's a lot of A. There's some Q's. There's a lot of A's and there's a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can hear myself.
Yeah, you gotta turn the volume on.
Okay, it's been so long. So listen, hopefully people can let us know in the comments if you're getting some audio. That's always our first panic situation.
We heard ourselves, so
we did hear ourselves, so we're probably good. Hooray for Team Pep!
Woo!
Team Pep. What team is that? How do I get on that team?
You can't be on Team Pep.
Damn it.
Only Pep can be on Team
Pep.
Pep.
Audio is good. Now listen, I was experimenting slightly, which is always a bad idea before the live stream.
Yes.
But it always happens. I was experimenting with trying to delay the audio and video a little bit to make it sync up better, because sometimes it gets a little out of sync, which means it might be wildly out of sync now. I have no idea. But even if it's okay now, it'll probably get worse as time goes on.
We're doing great, Grim Destiny.
All right.
I started with the Q already.
Perfect. Well, listen, there's so many things to cover here. So many things. How have you been, Pap?
I've been great.
Good. Well, let's go over some of these things.
All right.
First,
how have you been?
Oh, thank you. I've been quite well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. It's been nice to have power back on and to be able to get back to work. We were away at BGG Con. We're going to talk about that, of course. But there's just a couple of things I want to mention, a little bit of housekeeping. If you've been missing the channel lately and you're wondering what's been going on there, well, if you look in the last month, we posted Robinson Crusoe, how to play video. We just started a playthrough of Robinson Crusoe. We're going to do the whole thing together, right? And we've done the first 2 rounds?
First two rounds.
Yes, exactly.
And we haven't died yet.
We haven't died yet, but apparently it's very common. Actually, I've yet to win the game. We won the game once before, but not really, because we made some mistakes. We made some mistakes, right?
Yeah.
There were some mistakes.
But they weren't the kind of mistakes that would have made us lose.
They're pretty...
We forgot to take 2 determination tokens once.
Which would have helped us. But I think we were using some of your abilities when we shouldn't have, when we couldn't have.
I was going to use them ahead of time anyway.
It wasn't official. So we'll see if we can win it officially. So we got Robinson Crusoe, we got the playthrough going, we got Mansions of Madness playthrough going on right now as well. Adrenaline instructional video, Fabled Fruit instructional video. Raiders of the North Sea will be coming out tomorrow if all things go well. So that's already been recorded. And Guild Ball.
Guild Ball.
Yes, Guild Ball. So Guild Ball being a miniatures game, I'm probably going to break it up sort of like I did the Dust Warfare miniatures game and have it over a few episodes.
Like an army building and a...
Well, yeah. So the first one I kind of talk a little bit about setting up the game, how you would build a team. And then in the second one, we'll talk more about the basic actions you can take. And the third one, maybe talk a little more about, specifically how attacking other players works or trying to score goals, and then maybe have one that's just kind of all the catch-all other stuff, campaign play and just other accessory things. I haven't quite mapped out the entire thing, but I have written a script for the first part, so I'm going to start recording that this week and hopefully get it out soon to you. That's all of the sort of content-related stuff going on. And we do want to talk about BGG Con, but first, there's just a couple of thank you type items that we have to talk about.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pep. It seems appropriate. At the time of this recording, we are in December. It's feeling a little more festive, right? We're in the kind of the holiday spirit, or getting there.
Well, usually you thank people on Thanksgiving, but we can do it on Christmas too.
That's right. There's a lot of thanking on Christmas. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for this lovely sweater that you gave me. A lot.
I would never give you a sweater.
No, you wouldn't. I like your shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Is it new? We were having a chat about that earlier, because I did say to you, I said, "Is that new?" And you said, "No, I've had it for a while." And I it's a common reflex to say, "Is that new?" But I don't really care whether it's a new shirt or not. So why do people say that?
Well, you might care, but no, people do that with haircuts and things too. It's like, "Oh, is that a new haircut?" I mean, I know.
Well, that's a little different.
Yeah.
You've got a lot less hair on your head now than you used to.
Well, it could be a lot less shirt than you used to me seeing me wear.
It's a lot more shirt than I'm used to seeing you wear.
It's true, all these sleeves.
But yeah, so that's a little idiosyncrasy, I think, of human behavior to sort of ask, is that a new shirt? It's really just saying, hey, is that new or fancy? Or, hey, I'm noticing you're wearing something nice. That's really what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's usually what it amounts to is, hey, you look nice today. Yeah. But I don't want to say that. I want to find some other way I can lead into it.
Right.
Unless they're like, is that a new shirt?
That's not a good compliment.
Yeah.
That's definitely not a compliment. Well, okay, so some compliments I would like to pay to some people who actually did some very nice things recently. And I've sort of been saving these up over time. Harris from the...
Oh, they're on cards?
Well, no, the cards are the actual things that were sent to us. So Harris from the Geekway, what is it called? Geekway shop on Etsy he's been creating these sort of gamery, geekery greeting cards. So happy Zemus, right? You've got the option of fill in whatever you want inside here. It comes with an envelope though as well. We had another one here. This one shows a Cthulhu type character on the front, and it says Elder Wishes. So maybe again another little holiday.
I'd give that one to Grandpa.
That's good.
Yeah.
Here, Grandpa. The Love Eeples, maybe a little Valentine's Day greeting card here. And another one here that he sent along was the stars were right on your birthday. So kind of like an elder sign looking one. So if you're interested in checking those out, I'll put a link in the description of the video for those. But thank you, Harris, for sending them along. I'll definitely find some friends to send those along to as a special, as a special gift. Another gift that was sent along recently are these dice bags. These were sent by Kirsty and Tim. They have an Etsy shop called the Origami Pandas. And so they sent these along. They've been watching the show, much like Harris had as well. And they got into Dice Masters, I think, through watching some of the videos. So they decided to make some dice-related bags for hot games that are coming out. So the one that they wanted to start with was Star Wars Destiny, the game that's just released. And I have been doing my utter best to avoid that game because it's one of these CCG games, right? So it's a blind buy when you open up the pack. You don't know what kind of dice are going to come in and all the rest of it. And so
will I get Chewbacca?
Right.
I don't know.
No, exactly. Or will I just get another Stormtrooper? Who knows?
It could be Traitor.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I realized the hypocrisy in my concern over falling down the deep dark hole that is the Star Wars Destiny game, because I look at my game shelf and I just see a big deep dark hole I've already fallen into, which is just buying games in general. Right?
Oh, so now you're going to fall in anyway just because you've already done it.
Well, right? And now I got these. It's like, well, geez, I kind of like that. Put some dice in these. So what did you put in here?
I put dice.
You put dice in here. Yeah. So it's a little dice bag, and they actually sent us along an extra one that we could give away during a contest. So
thank you.
No, during a contest to one of our viewers.
Ah.
So thanks, Kirsty and Tim. We will do that in a future video. Oh, they also sent along this smaller one too, the little baby Groot version. It's a little dice pouch. They said maybe for like your Imperial Assault dice or X-Wing dice or something more like that.
A normal set of dice fits in there.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple of cool little gifts. And Kirsty and Tim are in the UK. And again, I'll try to remember to put the links in the description of this video to their shops. If I forget, I'm sure one of you will let me know, and then I'll put them in at that point.
Comments up.
Oh, yeah, we should bring up the chat here. And don't you worry, we're going to be answering your questions. I hope people are asking their questions. Don't forget, I know it's been so long, but put question in all caps before your question. It helps us look for it. If you've already asked a question and didn't do that, then feel free to repeat the question if you want and put the all caps, although we will try to watch for your questions in the older stuff.
We will try.
I also wanted to thank Brawling Brothers, the board gaming podcast, for sending along this. Well, actually, they gave it to me at BGG Con. Oh. This is a tumbler from their show, and I really like it. I love these little. So here's a pint glass from the Secret Cabal gaming podcast, and I've got, I think, every one of their pint glasses, and they're really awesome.
That's impressive.
And I liked that the Brawling Brothers decided to do something a little different rather than just copy this. They often talk about whiskey on their show, so a
whiskey glass.
a tumbler seemed like the right idea for them. Very cool, and I want to say thanks to them for giving me that at BGG Con. That was a fun little gift. And the last gift that I want to mention, a lot to be thankful for here.
It's the gift of friendship.
Yes, that's also nice. But before that, and better than that, Hanju. So at BGG Con, I saw Tom Bassel playing this first, actually, and I just saw him playing some game with cards and cubes. And I was like, well, that looks interesting. What's that? And I grabbed the box and I'm like, okay, Honshu, I've never heard of this. And it wasn't available yet in North America.
Did you get it out of the BGG library?
No, Stephanie Straw had a copy, and she taught me how to play. And thanks for that, Stephanie, because we almost reviewed it there.
This is a great game.
Thank you, Pep. This is something that I think I was talking about on Twitter, and Brian Venn saw me talking about it. And said, hey, I have an extra copy of this that I picked up, I think, at Essen. Thank you. And would you care to have it as a little late birthday gift? And I thought that was awesome. So thank you, Brian, for sending this along. I played this with Luke. He loves it already. I think partly because he won or whatever. But anyway, that was a nice thing to get sent along. So those are all the presents that I've got. Do you have any presents to talk about, or do we move on?
I don't have anything particular, but yeah, I played Honshu a couple times. Also very much enjoyed it at BGG Con.
Yes, and you've already asked to borrow my copy.
Yes, which I have been told no.
Flatly refused. I'd like to show it to Christy. I think she might enjoy playing it as well.
Yeah, just bring it tomorrow night.
We'll see. Yeah, game night tomorrow night, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You're all invited.
If you can make it down here, you're invited.
You can make it down.
Okay, so we want to talk about BGG Con.
Yeah, let's do it.
Actually, before we do that, maybe I started setting you up and then just dashing your hopes. Maybe we should look at a couple of questions just so we don't fall too far behind.
Let's roll through some questions.
Okay, we'll roll through some questions. All right. Boop, boopity, boop, boop. Okay, so MTG McCullen asks, "Hi guys, watch you guys play games, but will you play the next game of Above and Below?"
Near and far.
If you mean like, yeah, the other game, possibly.
Definitely.
Possibly, we will. I always have to avoid pre-announcing things because as soon as I do, then people will come at me going, "Where's that video you said you were going to present us with?"
For Star Wars Rebellion.
I never said I was going to do.
But yeah, no.
It's definitely one that we're looking at, and so keep an eye on the channel. We'll see what happens there. If you mean, are we going to play Above and Below again, which you might have meant, no.
No, we never do anything twice.
We try not to repeat things.
But yeah, as for the other one, you might see it in the near or far future.
Okay. Sador42 asks, "Sitting down right now to play Great Western Trail. Any how to play or play through?" I don't have a copy of that game yet, but I did order it actually. It's on its way to me. So no plans currently. Again, I don't pre-announce content because sometimes things change and then the content doesn't get made. The most famous example of that is probably Forbidden Stars, but going back even farther than that, Memoir 44, where I sort of did a little video saying, "Hey, I'm going to do a video for this," and then things happened, right? So with Forbidden Stars, it's now fallen off the track because GW and FFG split. So that game's not even in print anymore, so I wouldn't do a video for a game that's out of print typically. Dirty Mop Head Snoop asks, "Is that a beer, Rodney?" It's a beverage. It's a beverage. It's a beverage, Mophead. Let's see here. Oh boy, the chat just jumped.
There, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. What games do you have coming up? Well, Justin, I think we already kind of answered that, didn't we? The Raiders of the North Sea, if you didn't hear, and Kickoff will be happening as the next videos. I don't really have anything else planned before Christmas other than those two. Those are like, I want to get those done and then kind of see what happens. I want to just keep doing the playthroughs as well.
Brian Holtz wants to know if you'd played a coin game yet.
No, sort of, Brian. I had Andy and Abyss. I picked that up because my buddy Joel Eddy from Drive Thru Review, he was a fan of the coin series, and it looked interesting to me. I read the rules. I started sort of a solo play, and my brain was like on fire in a good way. But I realized, who am I going to play this with? Who else is going to enjoy having their brain lit on fire this way? It seemed like ideally you do want to play that game with four people. So I end up selling that copy, but I have been tempted by other games in the coin series that seem a little simpler that have been coming out. So if I can find maybe that right fit, Falling Skies, I think it was, looked very interesting to me as well as the American one that I can't think of right now.
No, me neither.
Yeah, the Colonial one or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Max Lathrop wants to know what your favorite two-player game is.
Well, it's good to get that question out of the way early. Max, I don't review, I don't really offer recommendations or favorites or anything like that. I'm kind of a wet blanket when it comes to those kind of questions, I'm afraid. But I do play a lot of two-player. I'll tell you some two-player games I've been playing recently. How about that?
Yeah.
I just learned and played Fields of Arle, which is a Uwe Rosenberg game that's specifically for one or two players only. And yet it's like the same box size as Caverna or Agricola or any of those other large games, but it is really just for one or two players.
Yeah, I haven't tried that. You said you were going to show me that.
Yeah, I'd like to show it to you. What was I playing the other day? Well, I played Honshu. That's not just a two-player game, but we played that two-player. It has some very different rules for two-player, actually.
Agricola, all creatures big and small.
Yeah. Lost Cities. I just broke that out with my wife. We were looking for a little two-player game to play, and she said, "Hey, let's play that again." We hadn't played that for a while, so that was a fun one to break out. So there's a couple of two-player games. For your question, here we go. So Espen asks, some months ago you said Forbidden Stars was on the way, but you need to get a few more plays in first. What's the time frame here? So I sort of answered that previously. There is no time frame anymore. What delayed that initially is I had played that game at Gamma, and I was taught by the FFG guy. So I felt like, oh, this game is going to be pretty straightforward for me to go home and create an instructional video for, and I definitely want to do a video for this game. Awesome. So I went home, I did a little preview because I was kind of excited to share the game. And then it came with these 2 rule books. And the 2 rulebook system just hurts my soul every time I have to create a script for those. So I realized, oh gosh, no, I don't have a big enough window in my scripting schedule to create a script for this game. This is going to be a bigger beast than what I had first imagined. And then as time went on, it just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. But I was still in my heart saying, I will do this game. I will fulfill this commitment. Then they lost the license to the game. So with them having lost the license to the game, I'm kind of off the hook that I put myself on. But again, I apologize for anyone who's hanging on for that. It was really a mistake on my part to say anything before I was absolutely, like now I will announce things, but only when I'm at the scripting stage. When I'm sitting down, I'm writing the script. That means I've already played the game enough times and I'm ready to start writing. So I apologize for that, anyone who's waiting on it.
Inky Block wants to know what our favorite uncommon fruit is.
I have to say I'm not super... I don't explore a lot in the uncommon fruit area. Have you eaten a lot of uncommon fruits? Like a kiwi might be, but I know it's not an uncommon fruit, but it's.
I've had pomelo. Pomelos are interesting.
Okay, never had like a pomegranate. Might be another.
Maybe a pomegranate. Dragon fruit is really good. It is not what I assumed it would be.
I have had a dragon fruit. I think I had it here, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is not what I assumed it would be. You open it up and it's this white, fleshy thing with little black specks in it.
Weird.
It's like,
right?
oh, I thought this would be red.
It's fiery.
Fiery.
Okay. So. Okay, just skipping down here for a couple more questions, then we'll talk about BGG Con. Then we'll actually get into playing a little game with you guys as well.
Hello, no pun intended. Nice trick to get us to read that.
Oh, Efka, you almost got us. No pun included, just did a video review for Los Angeles, the new FFG game. So check that out if you're interested in that hot new game that just came out. Oh boy, that looks like a sports question, isn't it? Yeah. Scott Dickey, who are you picking in hashtag MLS Cup, Toronto or Seattle?
I'll go with Seattle.
Sure, I'll say Seattle as well.
Yes.
What sport do you think that's?
I don't know. Major League Soccer. Major League
sloping.
It's
like sledding.
Sledding.
It's, then Toronto for sure. Sorry, I have to give it to Toronto for the sledding cup. Okay. Jose Gimenez asks, one game that makes you laugh. I'm looking for a game night. Well, I'll tell you the game that makes me laugh almost every time is Time's Up. Time's Up always gets me roaring at some point. Telestrations is another rip-roaring game, I find. Well, any that jump to mind for you?
Those two are what I would have said as well.
Yeah. Felt like I was maybe stealing
anything that's kind of a little charades based.
Yeah, no, those are both good. Just trying to think if there's any other ones that jump to mind. Snake Oil can be pretty funny as well, depending on the creativity of the people playing.
Yeah, Wonky was pretty fun.
Never played that one.
Oh, I got to write that on my list of stuff to mention about BGG Con.
Okay, perfect.
Wonky, check mark.
Oh, Rock Guy 1992 asks a question it's kind of interesting. How easy do you remember the rules of so many games over time? Not well. Oh boy, like before BGG Con, I was rewatching my Kemet instructional video, and some people might assume that Kemet is one of my favorite games, for example, and so therefore I should know the rules to that like the back of my hand. And yet still, if it's been months since I've played, there's little things that I forget and I need to just go refresh myself on, and that's true of so many games. There's certain games though, like Blood Rage would be one that I go, I'm pretty sure right now I could play that without having to really look at the rules, because the iconography on that game is so good. I find it very easy to look at that and then things come back. It's when there's not little cues to sort of fire off my memory circuits that that's where I get lost.
Yeah, iconography is super important.
Yeah,
in remembering the rules to games, I find.
And I think like designers and publishers should really think about that, because in this age of people buying hordes and hordes of games, when I'm looking at my shelf trying to decide which game do I want to pull off, even if I know in the back of my head, that game, I had a lot of fun playing that. I would love to play that right now. It will stay on the shelf if I realize, oh no, but I would need to take 30 minutes just to remind myself of all the rules.
Yeah.
If you can create some kind of little cheat sheet or something you put in the box, or improve the iconography on your game, I think it'll get off the shelf more often. More times people playing it, that's more like advertising for you on people's game tables to other people. I think it's good for the longevity of your game.
I think especially the little fiddly rules need to be iconographized in some way.
Again, a little cheat sheet or something. I know people do this on BGG, but not everyone thinks to go to BGG. And like it'd be nice if the publishers would include some of that stuff in their content as well. There's my little rant on that. Thiago Suarez asks for the best game of 2016. Can't really help you there because that's one of those best game questions that I avoid. Let me think about the game that maybe I've played the most in 2016. I would probably have to say the game I played the most was Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born. I played that game more than anything else.
But that was a 2015 game, wasn't it?
True. Yeah. I guess I'm just answering. It was interesting. I listened to the Secret Cabal Game podcast recent Express episode. I think it was like the top 10 games 10 games we played the most, the ones that hit our table the most often. And I have to tell you, of all the top 10 lists, I think that might be one of my favorites. Because, yes, sure, Feast of Odin from Uwe Rosenberg is really hot right now, and you're really excited about it. But I would love to know what games you keep pulling out and putting on your table over and over and over again as years go on.
Because those are the games that you want to buy, because you know that people keep playing them. So
right. Cool. I know that some games I open up, I get really excited about, and sure, I know this excitement I could pass on to somebody else.
Yeah.
But will it keep coming out to the table and being played? That's a whole separate question.
Sheriff of Nottingham kind of fills that for me. I almost can't think of a single game night, or like at least every second game night.
Sure.
Sheriff
haven't been playing it.
Yeah, at some point. What happened?
Oh, did we lose the Q&A there quickly? It looks like the box disappeared. Let me see if I can get it back.
Oh, I was just worried the whole thing.
There we go. No, I think we're fine. I'm just going to pop up the chat here. There we go. So we might have fallen a little bit behind in the questions, though. Let me see if I can get those back up here.
Oh, that was actually pretty close.
Was it pretty close? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. There we go. We'll never talk about BGG Con at this rate.
Fine.
Yeah, Robert, we're fine. We're both fine.
Don't read the ones that aren't questions.
I know. I'm trying not to. So one of the questions, games made easy. Another YouTube channel that teaches people how to play games asked, what were the yordles that I played when I played through Mexen versus Minions with Luke? Ziggs was the one Ziggs is the one that Luke used and I used. Oh, the German sounding name. Heimdall? I'm forgetting his name right now. Heimerdinger, I think it was.
Heimerdinger?
I don't remember.
I still haven't got to play that.
I know you haven't played that yet. Maybe that's something I should bring tomorrow. So Luke and I played through 2-player using just the 2 figures from start to finish all the way through. So if you've ever wondered, can you play that as a 2-player game and actually succeed? I know some of the levels might seem challenging at 2 players. It is possible.
Ben Cartier wants to know if we've ever played Anachrony.
Anachrony. I have not, although I think, is that by Artipia Games? I forget exactly who that's by, but I have seen it. I haven't played it. Where are we at now? I'm going to point on the screen because I might have lost track here. Okay. Scott King asks, do you ever miss American gamers that you only get to see or talk to at conventions? Yes, Scott, I miss you. Okay, is that what you're asking? I miss you very much, Scott. Yeah, I do actually. Although several of them I do keep in touch with online through Facebook, same here, right? And Twitter, and so we interact that way. But there's nothing quite like meeting up at a convention and getting to play games together, which you'll undoubtedly hear stories of if we ever talk about BGG Con. Mm-hmm. No, never. No, it's just our mission not to talk about BGG Con.
Kristen Boudreau wants to know if we have any good local game stores nearby that we shop at, and do we have to order a lot of our games since we're on PEI?
So there are local game stores, and by local to us, I would mean about 40 minutes away, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit of a drive.
They're more relegated to things like Magic the Gathering, though, and they don't really have much in the way of board game stock.
Yeah, except for there's one shop I won't mention the name of because I just don't really want to give it advertising, honestly. That has quite a few board games. They've definitely upped their board game quantity, but that's just because they caught on that but board games are popular finally, so it's a way to make some money. But Yeah, I wouldn't say they service the board gaming hobby, really. It's just a money-making thing. Which is fine, but I'd love to see it be a little more central to their interest.
To answer their question, the second question though, for the most part, we do have to order things online if we want games, especially anything that's just come out.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And if you want it at a half decent price too. We have a board game cafe now on the island, which is awesome. Small print board games cafe. So I'm really excited about that. And it's nice to be able to have somewhere to direct people to now who come to the island. Hey, sometimes I'll get asked, like, hey, I'm visiting on summer vacation. Where should I go? Yeah. Rather than point them at a game store, I'll just point them to the cafe.
They sell games there as well, so.
Yeah, James Porter asks a question on our opinion on Colt Express. Again, won't really be able to give you much insight there, as I don't really review games, but I have played the game. And an app for it was just released, by the way. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but yeah, an app was just released by Asmodee.
Did you try out the Takedo app? Did you get into the beta for that?
I did get in the beta for that, and I just haven't gotten to it. I saw it at Gamma 2 years ago, and it looked beautiful, and I can see it still looks beautiful. The production on it looks really excellent. So
yeah, it looks really beautiful.
Yeah.
I played it through it a couple times. I haven't got to get online multiplayer working yet, though.
Is it not working?
It's just very difficult because the current version of it kind of requires you to literally find another person who wants to connect at the exact same time. And you can't actually connect to the other person. You just have to open it blindly and hope that person gets in with you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And I assume that's not how the final version is going to be.
Probably not, right? That's probably one of the last things they do is work out that multiplayer stuff.
I agree.
Where are we at here? Here's a good question. Ren R. Do you guys ever disagree or argue about a rule or rules during a playthrough, or have you all ever argued in general? Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure we have.
It usually comes it usually comes down to something like the rulebook says this, and it's like, well, it pretty obviously means this, and the other person's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. And that's rule books are kind of the worst around that stuff, because unfortunately for me now, I've had so many encounters with rule books where I've read it one way, and then I've gone to the publisher and found out, oh no, it's not that way at all. And so now I'm extra skeptical. So even if Pep's going like, well, the rules say this, part of my lizard brain is going, yeah, I know what the rules say, but this feels like those other 20 situations where, I got burned because what it said wasn't really what they meant. This is some kind of like translation error. And I can tell there's a weird little thing. Sometimes Peppa's right, sometimes I'm right.
And funny enough, that's reversed too. Sometimes like you'll be like, well, the rulebook says this. And it's like, yeah, but that's not what they meant.
Right.
Like we've definitely done both ways.
Yeah, too. Definitely. And does it get heated sometimes? Certainly.
Oh. And sometimes it comes right down to wording. Like I remember we were playing Wiz War. And it came.
I wasn't.
No, you weren't. I
was. Yeah.
And it came right down to the end where somebody had killed the other person by playing a card that let them move the other character, and they moved them through a firewall over and over until they died. And when we looked in the rulebook, it specifically said that if someone dies indirectly, you don't get the points for them dying. And it's like, well, I made them move. Did I make them move? Is that directly or is that indirectly? Like, what does indirectly mean?
Exactly mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, I'm pretty sure you don't get the points. And
yeah, that sounds like indirect to me. Is that what you're saying?
It sounds indirect to me, but
if that's not indirect, then really, what do they mean by indirect?
Yeah, that's exactly my argument. It's like, well, what does indirect mean then? Like, what could possibly happen that they needed?
And sometimes we're on the exact same page too.
Yeah, see there.
There you go.
We would have just nodded at each other. This happened,
or rolled our eyes. Well, let's see here. The Grim Destiny asks a question here. Rodney, do you ever have time to play older games with your family when you are not filming stuff? And what older games predated, I guess, from like 2 to 3 years ago, do you play most often? Yes. The short answer to that is yes. When I'm not doing games for the show, we do have family game night. Sometimes there are the new games, like we're playing through Fabled Fruit right now. We're going through that together as a family. And we went through Pandemic Legacy as a family. That was fun. But we also broke out Lost Cities the other day. Christy enjoys playing Viticulture.
Yeah, I was going to mention Viticulture.
We'll break that out and play that on occasion. We went on a vacation together, and that was the game she requested to bring along. So we played that a few times. So yeah, I would say it doesn't happen a lot. Usually I am kind of pushing the new thing to our table when I think I found something that I think would be a good fit, like a Honshu or something. I'd be like, oh, I think I found something the family would enjoy playing. I'll bring that out.
Isn't that it's strange? Let's break off the subject for a second.
Sure.
That's an amazing thing to me about games and about being a gamer is that 9 times out of 10 when I get this new game that I'm really excited about and I think is really good, the first thing comes to mind is, this person would really like this. This person would really like this. I want this person to see this.
Yeah.
Like it fires things off in your head. Like I want to experience this with these extra people. And I love that. It's not something that I find in a lot of other things, like even movies. I don't necessarily think to say, hey, you should go watch this movie. I think you'd like it.
Right. You might go, oh, have you seen this movie? And you might banter about it. But the compulsion, I think, I like what you're saying. It's like there's almost like this internal, oh, I think this person would really enjoy this, which I think is probably, it made me think about the conversation we were having the other day. We were talking about trick-taking games. And I was like, I have a couple trick-taking games I really like. And I think you were saying in general, they don't necessarily appeal to you, right?
No, not really.
Right.
Honshu is,
right.
I really like Honshu.
Right.
Though.
And so I remember when Pep said that, and part of me inside was like, sad.
Oh yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, because I have a couple of trick-taking games. I'm like, oh, I'd love to show this to Pep. I think he'd like this. And so immediately my brain starts doing like, how do I convince him that like not all trick-taking games are going to be like what you've experienced, but like where's that coming from?
I know.
Like it's that internal thing of wanting someone else to enjoy that thing that you enjoy, and like you say, like get a game in your head, like, oh, I think my family would really like this. I really want to show this to them. You have to be careful of that voice, though, right? Because are you doing it for you or them, right? Like you have to be able to tell that.
Yeah, and something like, especially with trick-taking games, they're quick enough that.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, even if I don't like it, it's 5 minutes.
I want you to like it. That's the problem.
I know you do. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so.
I like Honshu. We can trick-take together
it's
with
that. It's
that.
not really a trick-taking. Okay. I love our viewers. You guys are so awesome. People are trying to find like, how do I ask them for an opinion and skirt the rule?
Yeah.
So Grim's asking, if you can name 3 games for 2016 as the best time you've had playing them, what would they be?
Ooh, that is tough. Well, I'm actually just gonna try to talk about BGG Con.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. So
let's use that as a way to talk about BGG Con.
Okay. Do you mind if we sort of start a little bit at the beginning and then we'll dive into some of the games that we played, which I think will help us answer that question. I just wanted to mention very quickly, we went to BGG Con together. Sort of, yeah. Part of the flight we were together and then we separated?
And then we separated and we were supposed to get back together, but then my flight got delayed.
Right.
So then I was like 3 hours later than planned?
Yes. I went to BGG Con with Concrud pre-installed.
Which you installed in me, I think.
I think so. I wasn't feeling well, and I think I infected you. It's weird though, because I must have got you just when I was infectious, because when I was at BGG Con, I was hanging around the same people a lot, and none of them got sick as far as I know. So I think by the time I got to BGG Con, I was kind of cured. Anyway, so we got there. I think the first game I remember playing was Strike, because that's kind of just of course. And Marty from Rolling Dice and Taking Names, it's like become begrudgingly the game he always plays first at every convention, so it felt appropriate to insist on that occurring again. So we went for a little food run, like little snacks and stuff. Like we'd like to have some water bottles and snacks. We did that. We played some Strike, and then it was back to the hall to play some games. Did you play any games when you first got there on that first day?
No, I immediately basically went to sleep.
Yeah. You went to dead?
I went to dead, yeah. Got in, it was like 8:30 technically by the time I got in. So I talked to you guys for like 10 minutes, and I basically just went up and went to bed.
That's right. I saw you for a couple minutes there, and then you were gone. That first night I played Gore Chosen, which I believe Matt Evans from Board Game Replay had brought. It's a GW game for up to 4 players, just kind of brawling around each other. Actually,
I started playing.
You were, and then you left shortly after that. Yeah. You were there long enough to hold the box and get your picture taken, I think. Which I should mention, if you go to the Watch It Played Facebook page, there's an album there with all the pictures that I took, including some others that I grabbed from some other people of the BGG Con experience, or from my perspective at least. So if you'd like to check those out, feel free to. And we also played Adrenaline, taught and played that, and taught Tom Strike. Jason Levine, the gaming machine, was there. He loved Strike. He immediately tried to find it online. A few other people who played it there also were trying to do the same thing. And were successful, which was kind of fun to see. Tom played Strike by standing on a chair and chucking the gladiators into the arena, which I'd never seen done before, but it was impressive, actually. I have to give him credit for that.
I know when I play, I try to do it from as far away as possible.
Yeah. This is new heights, let's say.
Literally.
Yeah, I know. I think that was it for the first night.
Yeah, I slept.
Yeah, and you slept.
Yeah.
Next day in line.
We're literally going through the days one by one.
Well, no,
I just wrote down a list.
I have a list.
Piece of paper.
Mine tends to be sequential because I looked at my pictures, which kind of reminded me. So you can, there we go. So the very first game I played the next day was in line. We played Court Chosen again on the floor in line, waiting to go in.
Oh yes.
And
the line.
I was really pumped to play Concordia. So we were asked earlier about playing older games. This is an older game that just I had in the back of my head. When I go to BGG Con, I want to play some games I already know. I don't have to like play all the hot new games. I just want to play some stuff I already know. And Concordia was one I really wanted to get to the table.
That's the one with the cards and stuff, right?
Yes, like all games.
I remember
You
that
played
one.
Concordia?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the board and the cards and the pieces and the things.
Yeah, and it's an area control game, right? In a way. I sometimes I ask questions just to see that face.
It's sort of, not really.
Okay.
No. But anyway, yeah, you fritzed my brain there a little bit. Anyway, it was a real treat to get that. We taught, I think Matt Evans had not played before, and Chaz from Paradise hadn't played before. So it was kind of fun to teach them. And who was there? Marty was there, and I was there, and Golly G. Willikers. Am I forgetting somebody else?
Nope.
I think it was just the four of us. Yeah. Yeah, so that was fun. That was fun to play. What about you? Talk about a game.
Are you going to keep going in order? Because I don't know the order that I played stuff
Go for it.
I don't know how to do this now. So let's see. Definitely played Honshu.
Mhm.
That was a big surprise.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that I went to BGG Con, of course, expecting and wanting to play. Terraforming Mars, Fabled Fruit, Dream Home or House. I never remember which one it is. Cottage Garden. And I did get to play all of those.
Honshu, I should just mention quickly, because since we've mentioned it a few times here, people might be like Googling it or whatever.
How do I get this? I want it now.
You can't get it here. However, Renegade Games does have the rights to release it in North America if you're in North America, and that will be, I think, Q1 of 2017.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming. So there you go.
Yeah, and so
yeah, so you played some of those games.
Yeah, and I got to play quite a few prototype games actually, which was a fun experience as well. Like, games that are coming down the pipeline.
Yes.
So, including Rising Sun.
Right, the new, the upcoming Eric Lang game from Cool Mini or Not as well. Kind of, I think he said the spiritual successor to Blood Rage, right?
Yeah, he stopped in and showed us how to play Rising Sun, and I got to be the Turtle Clan.
Turtles are Pep's favorite animal. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So that was exciting. But you're just pleased to know they had a Turtle Clan.
Oh, so pleased. And I mean, I think I kind of knew already. But what I thought was that I thought there was tons of clans in the game. Like I thought there was like 20 or something.
Yeah.
There's only 5.
Okay.
And of those 5, maybe 6. But of those 5, maybe 6, there's a Turtle Clan, and it's awesome.
And I think you posted some art. You reshared some art that was released today or recently of the Turtle Clan.
I think it was a long time ago, but I just want to talk about it again. And it's very interesting because all the clans are very asymmetrical. They're all very different. And
your clan's mobile, right? Like they can kind of pick up and move their headquarters or something?
Yeah, their headquarters move, and they count as troops, but they can't die.
Okay.
So like I have 1 attack strength anywhere, so I'm technically occupying a place as long as I have a base there. And they can move, and it's so cool. One guy can basically just fly, essentially.
I love how excited you are.
So they can go from one place to another.
Yeah.
Another one, normally you have to like randomly decide between 3 actions which action you're going to take in the round. One of the clans just gets to put it face down and be like, this action I want to take.
Yeah.
Any action. One of them doesn't have to pay for stuff, or they only like pay 1 money for anything, but they just start with a little less money than everyone else does.
Yeah.
And the other one does something war related. I don't remember.
It sounded like maybe 6. I don't know. I lost track.
Yeah, I lost track too. But yeah.
Anyway, so Ryan, you get to play a prototype of that, right?
Yeah, and it is apparently the finished game. It's just it was a prototype version of the finished game. Components-wise, yeah. Oh yeah, we're using like little miniatures from other games.
Sure. Prototypes I avoid like the plague at these shows. I just don't get a lot of enjoyment out of playing a game that isn't quite done yet. Although I have made exceptions in the past and really enjoyed it. Like Adrenaline, the first version of that I played was not a final product. In an Eric Lang game, I would try prototype. And Emerson Matsuichi. And Jeff Engelstein. So those are like the people I would consider. Everyone else, and it's not a criticism against designers. I have shelves full of published games I cannot get to. And so my brain feels like I don't want to learn the rules to this game that isn't really done yet or something. Like I have this weird resistance. Plus I don't like playing with paper and weird stuff. Like I like it to look kind of I'm a snob, I guess. It's a little snobby, isn't it?
I'm weird like that. I don't really care usually what the game looks like. I remember as a kid, I usually make things out of cardboard. Like I have a cardboard copy of Star Wars Life.
Listen,
still floating around somewhere.
I used to clip G.I. Joe figures and Transformers out of the Sears catalog and play with them because I didn't have them. So I would play with little cutouts. So it's weird. Maybe that's why. Maybe somewhere deep in my past, I'm just so.
You can't handle it.
I can't handle it anymore. I need the real thing now. Never again.
I've never heard someone say that before.
I've never heard of anything like that either. It's like I create all these little paper dolls basically to play with, right? From the Sears catalog. When the new Sears catalog came out, I had the entire G.I. Joe collection.
I'm just imagining some kid doing this with Lego now. Like cutting out little paper like pieces of Lego and gluing them together or something. Yeah, it's like I'm playing with Lego.
Yeah. Oh man, Transformers.
Lego's
everything.
Expensive.
It is. It is very expensive. So anyway, there's my little confession. But I think, yeah, I just have a resistance to that. I'm surrounded by games that are published, presumably play tested already. I don't need to be someone's guinea pig. And there's so many people on the planet. Well, I don't know how many, but there's a lot of people who do enjoy prototypes.
Oh yeah.
And so those people should just go crazy with it, and I'll avoid it as much as possible. Oh boy. Okay. So I want to mention we did an escape room. We did an escape room last year, like an actual escape room, off-site. We went to an escape room thing, right, where they lock you in a room for an hour and you try to escape. And that was a load of fun. We went with, I won't try to name everyone, I'll forget, but Suzanne and Marty and Chaz and myself and Matt and
you're trying anyway.
Rich and Dave and Kevin. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Rich Summer went along with us as well, which was fun. He was flying in from LA. His two other friends from Minnesota, Dave and Kevin, were already there. So we met up. We went to Heart 8 together. It was really nice getting to know those guys. And then Rich would write me like, okay, my plane got delayed. All right, I'll meet you at the escape room. Eventually he got to the escape room. But on the way in, the Uber guy was refusing to use his GPS. So Rich was like, Rich got out of the car. He just hands it aside, walked like a soul, just quickly away. Just, guys, I just need to get away from this car. I just need to get away from here. Let's go in and escape this room. So anyway, everything was aces after that. But the escape room was really fun. We did escape in time, which was cool. In fact, we actually won free access to go back in and play again.
I was gonna say they paid for your trip back to next BGG Con. That's
right.
Impressive.
Yeah, Sue Sheldon helped us win that. There was a secondary puzzle you could try to work out. It was a little cipher. It was like scroll with letters on it. I think if you got the word, you could unlock. And we had 13 minutes left on our clock after we escaped. And we said, well, let's spend that time trying to solve this puzzle. And the host of the game said, well, if you want to trade in 10 minutes of your time, I'll give you a clue. So then we'd only have 3 minutes left. And we said, sure, let's go for it. And the clue he gave us was, and this was really dirty, I thought. He said, the word is something I said during the instructional part of the escape room. So it wasn't related to the escape room at all. It was just something he said when he was teaching us the rules to going in. There's a word I said twice, and it's that word. And we were all like, oh, come on, how would we ever get it? And Suze was like, she knew it. I won't say what it was in case people go back. But he said what it was. She said what it was. We put it in, and boom, it worked. So pretty impressive. So we might do it again next year.
Splendid.
It was not the word splendid. Okay, so that's an escape room. You got anything you want to mention before we jump into some questions? I mean, I got even more to talk about for BGG Con, but
I got to play quite a bit of Fabled Fruit. I actually sat down and played, I think, 4 rounds in a row, which I thought was really fun.
I think that's about how far I am into the 4 or 5 rounds. I think I'm into it now with my family. Yeah.
Yeah, and it played really quick. It wasn't what I was expecting as a solo. Like I would never sit down and play one game of it. Like I would get absolutely nothing out of that experience.
Yes, yeah,
I think you have to play like 5 games in a row, and then like it's a lot of fun when you're playing multiple games.
Before I played it, I had someone say the same thing to me. You sit down and play 3 or 4 games before you stop. You know?
Yeah, don't just play one.
Right. So it gives you kind of a feel for what the game has to offer. I think it also kind of tantalizes you a little bit. Like if this is what I've seen after these 3 games, what's next, kind of thing, right?
Well, plus it's kind of like how we're in like a Netflix generation, you know, where it's the same thing. I would never say to someone, okay, go watch Daredevil, but only watch 1 episode a week. Don't watch it too fast. I'd be like, no, watch 4 episodes. Yeah. Go to sleep, wake up, watch 4 more. You know?
I honestly find it to be a more enjoyable viewing experience, except when I totally binge and I'm just like wiped out. But like the storytelling pacing is kind of nice when there's not that week-long gap between it, right? I kind of feel like I'm getting the story the way the writer had kind of intended it to be.
I almost wish that Netflix shows had breaks designed into them, where it went like 3-3-4,
okay,
or something like that, and so you knew like if I'm gonna, if I'm gonna try to binge watch a little bit, they suggest I watch these 3 episodes, and then the next episode has enough of a break between it that I don't feel like I'm missing.
Maybe it's not a cliffhanger, so you're not like, I have to keep watching this next episode. Yeah.
So it'd be kind of cool to have those almost scheduled in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's go to a couple of questions here, and then we'll. Actually, what time are we at?
Oh, don't look at the time.
I have to look at the time. All right, we're doing pretty good for time, actually.
Oh, we're still there.
Andrew King asks, would you play, not necessarily on camera, a hypothetical game that a hypothetical person has made?
Yes, send me your game, I will play it.
Pep will. I might not.
And I say to send you too, just because I could probably print something off, but I don't know. Send it to me, I'll definitely play it.
If Pep plays it and then recommends it to me, I'll play it. But I don't tend to play many games either that I'm not seriously considering for the show, unless I have been shopping for it and thought, oh, I'm really interested in this game. Again, it's just a matter of bandwidth. I have a shelf of about 5 shelves high of games that just I'm trying to get to, So I always feel like if I got an option, I'm going to try to grab one of those off.
The lower player count, the easier it is for me too, because I probably could say I have 1 or 2 people that will play prototype stuff with me.
Right.
But if it needs 7 people, I do not have that many people that will sit down and play something and have to muddle through rules and maybe this is a little too complicated.
Well, Tago has a opinion question, but it's nice and vague here. He says, was 2016 a better year for Eurogames or Ameritrash?
Ooh, I think I have to say Ameritrash.
Do you?
I mean, if I don't like the term Ameritrash anyway, but if I had to pick between the two, it feels like there's more just. Is it weird that I put party games into Ameritrash?
No, I think that's probably fine.
Okay.
That's tricky. Like when I think Ameritrash, I think Mansion's Madness 2nd Edition, and I think of where that sits in my happiness level. And I also think about Terraforming Mars or Great Western Trail and hundreds of Euro games that came out at Essen that I haven't even looked at yet. And some of those Euro games, I think, they had a pretty strong presence too. So I'm probably terrible at those kind of questions just because my memory can't hold. Wait, when did 2016 start and what games were included in that batch? I just kind of lose track of it over time.
Yeah, I feel like almost every game on my list of stuff I played at BGG and stuff I was interested in, all of it seems to be pretty much Ameritrash.
Yeah, I guess I've got probably about a mix of half and half here, sort of, I think, between the two. So I'm not really sure. I do feel like I can say some people, each year they kind of try to assess, was this just a better year in general for gaming? Were games better?
Yeah.
And again, I find that very hard to measure and assess, but I feel very satisfied with a lot of the games that I played this year. So I feel like it was a good year. I feel like the bubble hasn't burst yet. I wasn't wading through lots of garbage games, but that's the challenge it's hard to measure that because I don't just buy games randomly.
True.
Like if I was Tom Vassell, it'd be different, right? Where I'm just getting all these games coming in and having to review them all. Then I would see a lot of probably stuff that I would not be interested in, and I would probably have a different feeling about the quality of the games that released.
Jacob K wants to know if either of us celebrate Christmas or have a holiday tradition, and if anything gaming related, perhaps.
Hi, Jacob.
Hi, Jacob.
From Meeple Leaf Reviews. Excellent podcast. Becoming one of my favorites, actually. I love the banter between them. Very funny. And they also do video stuff as well. So thanks for the question, Jacob. Yes, I celebrate Christmas. Do you celebrate Christmas?
I do, but I don't feel like I have to.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. Yeah. I see it as a holiday where when I'm with people that celebrate Christmas, I'll embrace it and I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm also very content to sit in my apartment and play games on Christmas.
Sure.
And not think anything of it.
Not doing particular traditions.
Yeah.
I mean, the traditions that I would say that we do with our family would be, very traditional stuff like the Christmas baking, the decorating beforehand. It's not really a Christmas tradition, but we love to go sledding. We have a hidden hill nearby, and we'll do that. We'll make snowman, and then on Christmas Day, I had to have a specific tradition.
Oh.
When I was young, my parents would always make me wait Christmas morning. I couldn't run down. I know some kids, they would run down, they'd open up all their gifts even before the parents woke up. I was not allowed to do that. I had to wait. Not only did I have to wait until a certain time, then we all had to have breakfast together. All right? And then,
I feel your pain.
And then we would go open the gifts. So I have enforced that on my kids as well.
Of course.
Because there's something about that waiting and just if you look at the pictures of me when I was young on Christmas morning, there was a lot of this. Because I was kind of miserable.
So the moral of this story is you like to torture your own children because you were tortured as a child.
Yeah, a little bit. But you know what's funny? My daughter Andrea, she loves it. She would not have it any other way. And like she's like, nope, we've got to have breakfast first. She's embraced, and I have too, really, out of it. That kind of the excitement is heightened by waiting just a little bit. You know what I mean? So
do they bring you breakfast in bed to try to make it happen?
No.
We've done that because I had the same rules as a kid.
What's that?
Like the same kind of rules where, except what we had was we got to open one gift, and usually my parents would push forward the gift that they kind of suggest. Like you should probably open this because it's something you can play with while we're asleep.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Oh, so the night before?
No. Yes. We would usually open it the night before, but then like wouldn't get to play with it until the next day, kind of thing. Okay. Like maybe it would be if we had a Game Boy. I think I got a Game Boy game at one point. It's like, well, here you can play this in the morning while you're waiting, to see the rest of what you have. And so that was the thing. I think that's a good way to do it too, because then you don't have that like, oh, I'm sad, I don't have anything from Christmas yet.
Take the pressure off the valve a little bit.
Yeah. But you still have that excitement of I want to see everything else. There's still so much
more. Yeah. I remember. I forget why it was, but one year my parents bought me a Lego set in advance of Christmas, but it was a Christmas gift, so I was not allowed to open it or anything. But I had it.
Oh.
I physically had the box. I remember spending hours. It was this big Lego space station. I remember sitting for hours in my favorite rocking chair, and I would just look at the box, and I'd flip it over, and I'd look at it, and I'd open the flap, because you could open the flap on the boxes. Oftentimes, you could see the pieces in there, and I just hours just staring at that.
I wonder if we had the same space station growing up.
I don't know. I think I still have parts of it at home. Interesting. I have a lot of my old.
I don't have any of my Lego, and I regret it.
Yeah, I still have a lot of it, quite a bit of it.
Yeah, because there was quite a time just mostly through my teenage years where I probably wouldn't have thought to play with Lego, but yeah, now that I'm an adult again, I want to build things.
I bought like the Minecraft Lego when it came out because I kind of like some of that stuff.
Well, and I'd use it for D&D at this point.
Oh yeah, you could definitely use it to create like custom dungeons and
everything
stuff.
Yeah,
everything. Coco Shake asks, what con would you suggest for Canadian from BC to attend as a first con experience? That's tough. I will try to answer that by giving a few qualifiers. Okay. If you want excitement, lots of retail, big, bombastic, Gen Con, that's where you go for that.
Of course.
If you want that, but a little less, go Origins. If you want like a pretty strong retail presence, but you also want to feel like, okay, there's not tons of other things competing for my attention, then Origins, I think, is a good fit there.
If you want to be trapped in one room with 100 other gamers at all times, 100,000 other gamers at all times, go to BGG Con.
Yes, if you want to be trapped in an airport hotel. BGG Con, I love that convention.
Oh, me too.
I really, really do. It's just, I don't know. There's just something about, I love being locked in that crazy hotel for like 5 days, and every now and then looking up from my table, I'm head in a game, and I'm just totally focused, and then looking up and just seeing all these other people in this one room. Also, head pouring down, people laughing, someone cheering somewhere over a game, and just going like, wow, I am surrounded by people who are just as obsessed or crazy about this hobby as I am, and that's a really, I don't know, it's a weird kind of heartwarming kind of thing. Right?
Heartwarming. It's
heartwarming.
I love the flag system thing going on too, with the whole teachers needed,
players needed.
It's so open, and at no point did I ever feel like I would walk up to a table and be like, you see the sign, it's like, oh, of course I can sit down and play.
Yeah,
that's what the sign's for.
And if you're like, I don't want to be in that one room with all these people, that's just too much for me. They have all these breakout rooms on every floor, so you can go find a private room easily to play games, or at least a quiet room if you want. So
at one point, I actually specifically walked around looking for a game to teach, because I'm like, I feel like teaching a game.
Yeah, sure.
And so I walked around, and I didn't actually find anyone with a sign that for any game I knew how to play. So I was a little sad because I specifically wanted to teach someone a game, and it didn't happen. But
I spend a lot of time at my conventions, arguably playing games with my friends that I don't get to see very often during the year. So I'll get together with Marty and Matt and Joel or Chaz or whoever, and we'll play games for a lot of time at conventions. But I always try to make some time to also go and just play with other people as well. I end up in a pickup game of the Colony actually a group were getting ready to play, and they said, "Hey, do you want to come join us and play a game?" And it's like, "Yeah, let's play." So I got to meet some new people and play some games, and I really enjoy that too. You know, like just meeting some new people. And
I usually bounce around and try to play with just as many people as possible, and I usually end up running into people who are like, "Hey, you know, I'm so and so from Twitter." Like I ran into Netters from Netters Play.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, and it's like, "Oh, this is awesome," and it's really great, especially when it's people who have their face, you know, for their Twitter, and you already know what they look like.
Yes.
But it is a little weird when it's like, "I'm so and so from Twitter," and it's like,
I don't know.
I've never seen your face before, so I'll take.
Sometimes that'll happen. A podcaster will come up and say hi, and I'll be like, I don't know who you are, and they might think I'm just, you know, blowing them off. It's like I've never seen your face, and I've only ever heard you, and I am on video all the time, so I'm at a disadvantage. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, you meet lots of great people at these conventions. Ambi from Board Game Blitz. She's got a channel where she also teaches games, and I really wanted to meet her at this show because I really like the videos she's creating. And so I had a chance to meet her and Toby, and they tossed a game, Paris Connection, and that was we had a great time playing that. And then I went and ordered the game shortly thereafterwards, right? But it was really nice, like along with meeting the people that I am looking forward to seeing. It's really nice meeting some people that I'm now going to be looking forward to seeing again the next time I go to one of these shows, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh boy, so that was Coco Shake. There you go. The Cool Mini or Not Expo is a very good convention as well if you want a really small convention to go to.
I ran into Daniel Solis like 7 times, and like I loved
a couple times. Yeah.
I loved every interaction I had with him. Like it'd be a quick run into, be like, "Oh hi, hey, what's going on? What's new?" Like at one point I ran into him. He's just like, "Hey, I saw this game that was similar to a prototype you showed me earlier. Want to go check it out?" I'm like, "Sure."
It's funny too because it doesn't matter how small a convention is. There'll be someone I don't see at all, and then there'll be certain people I see just over and over and over again, just keep crossing paths constantly. And other people are like, "You were at the BGG Con, I never even saw you once."
Yeah, I feel like Daniel's someone I think I saw him most
a bunch of times,
and maybe he was just moving around a lot, and I was moving around a lot too. So,
Josiah Bennett asks, "We know you don't review games." Yeah, sorry, I keep harping on about that. But if feature one, that means you. But if you, I think what you're saying here is, but if you feature one, it means you like it. So would you ever say why you like certain games? You're not telling anyone to buy it or not. It's just your opinion. I think I get what you're saying there.
I think I could twist it in a way so you might answer.
Go for it.
What is it about games that makes you really like them? Like when you sit down to play a game. No, but like when you sit down to play a game, at the end of the game, what would need to happen in the game to make you be like, this is something that I really like, this is something I would buy? Like, do the mechanics have to jump out at you?
This is the problem, right? Because the shortest answer is the most unhelpful answer, and yet it's the truest answer.
Did I have fun?
Right. It's the most unhelpful because it's very hard to quantify that. But ultimately, it's just at the end of the game state, did I have fun? Were the mechanics complex? Some games that's going to be yes. Sometimes it's going to be no. Was I laughing out loud? Some games it's going to be yes. Some games it's going to be no. And in both cases, I could end up walking away going, wow, I really had a great time with that game. Like it's so...
Yeah. And it's so different person to person too. Like I remember playing Tada, and the first time I played Tada, everyone was exploding with laughter. We were having a great time. I played it here at the game group, and one person, everyone was laughing, everyone was having fun. And then at the end of the game, the one person was just like, that was awful. I'll never play that again. I'm like, wow.
Okay, yeah, right.
But it happens, you know. Not everyone has fun doing the same thing.
And sometimes even my own game experiences, I might play a game and kind of like, oh, that wasn't great. And then I'll play it again later and have a great time. And I'm like, well, what happened? What was different? And oftentimes it's the group of people. It's just the mood I was in. There's so many factors. So I'm not really dodging the question. I mean, I am, but I'm not really doing it intentionally. I just find it a hard thing to answer. If there's a game I like, I could tell you why, but at that point, I am reviewing that game. I'm saying, here's specifically why I liked this game.
Yeah.
And you might not find that when you play it. Because again, I don't even find it every time I play the same game, right? Sometimes I play Kemet, and I have a very different experience than the last time I played it. I find the first experience you have with the game is pretty informative. Like, I think if you have a really positive experience with the game, then your second play, if it's not so great, you still have the memory of the first time, so you kind of go, well, maybe that was just an aberration. I think I still like this game. Whereas if you have a bad experience, it's sometimes hard to go play it a second time. I don't know if you find that to be true, but...
Yeah, funny enough, actually, if I have a game that I don't like on the first play and then I grow to like over multiple plays, I would literally never suggest that game to another person. Because it's like with a TV show. You know, people will say, oh, this show gets really good after season 2.
Yeah.
And my response is usually, okay, then I won't watch it.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to watch through 20 hours of a show to get to the point where
But you really should watch The Wire, but you have to give it about 5 episodes.
Funny enough, I watched The Wire until it got good, and then I stopped watching it.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I stopped watching it in season 4, I think.
I think different mediums are different that way, too. Like, I think people are much more tolerant of a book. Like, they kind of expect a book to be 5 or 6 chapters before you kind of
get into it.
Whereas with a movie or a TV show, people kind of like, you need to hook me on the pilot or I'm not sticking around.
Yeah, and I feel very much that way with a board game.
Games,
well, I will play a game multiple times to see if I will like it, and I've done that before. I won't suggest things to people that
you didn't feel like
immediate Which is one of the reasons that I am okay with reviewers doing that, like playing the game once or twice and then saying whether they like it because of that reason. Because if they did really like the game, but it took them 10 plays, I don't want them to just flat out tell me it's a good game and that I'll enjoy it because they're wrong.
Yeah.
Like I'll play it the first time like they did, be like, this is awful, what's going on?
I was watching a review by a guy who does a channel called All the Games You Like Are Bad. And he was reviewing Innis, and he said, I first played Innis and I didn't like it. And I kept playing it, and I started to really enjoy it. And then I played it a bunch, and then I started to not like it again. So
I want to hear that.
Yeah,
that's something
you probably
I
would enjoy. You probably enjoyed his reviews. That's the other thing about reviewing. How many times you have to play it to really give an honest opinion on the review? You can be honest after the second play. It doesn't mean that if you played it 3 more times, your opinion would change, but it might. How can anyone ever know that? Like this guy, he played Innis or Inish or whatever multiple times and then started to dislike it again. So how do you know when is enough times to really have the perfect opinion? The reality is you can never have a perfect opinion. It's just an opinion. But in reviewers, people are looking for that answer, right? They want to know, is this game good? Because we're risk averse. We want to believe when we pay this money to a store and we get this game, we're going to have the fun that we're hoping to have, right? So you kind of hope a reviewer is going to be able to stare into their crystal ball and give you that information, I think, right?
Funny enough, my main advice when buying games would almost just be buy to your budget. Like literally, if you have a lot of disposable income and you normally would just kind of buy games because you have interest in them, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of gamer you are, and you probably enjoy playing a bunch of new games, even if they're not going to necessarily be permanent hits. You like to me, that's what I would think of as you. Like you end up with a lot of games that don't necessarily get played all the time, because you just will buy the things that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like me, like I don't want to buy something unless I'm sure I'm going to get the value out of it. So even if you tell me to go buy it, I'm not going to. I'm going to buy it off of the merit of whatever reason.
Not that happens, but
no. Yeah. Well, in private, he's just like, buy this, buy that, buy this. Not really.
It's a common thing that I'll get asked as well. People will say, well, is this game worth it? And that's I got that question recently in one of the comments, and that's an even harder question than almost, is this game fun? Because is it worth it depends on your financial income. Like, do you have tons of disposable income? If so, then a $70 game is nothing. If $70 is all you'll have to spend on games for the next 3 months, that's a very different question.
Yeah.
It's very impossible, very hard for me to say, is it worth it to you,
Yeah, like if you have $1,000 to spend on games and you say, should I buy Mechs vs. Minions for like $70, I would say, do it.
Yes. Yeah.
But if Mechs vs. Minions was the only game you're going to be able to afford, I'd be like, no, buy like Codenames for $20, buy so-and-so other game for $30, and then finish off with another $20 small game. Like maybe Sheriff you could get for $30.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I would suggest a bunch of smaller games you might get multiple plays.
I think that is where the value of reviews come from, and hopefully even watch it played in its own way, is that at some point in time you are trying to rely on other people's information because you just can't know before you buy it and try it yourself. So you watch the review and you hope and pray, okay, I think my tastes align with this person enough to feel confident here. But we all know at some point in time, no matter how similar your tastes are to some other reviewer, you're going to diverge eventually. And something they love, you're going to hate. It's just, that's going to happen. I don't know how we got this big tangent.
Yeah, that was a big
That was an interesting question from Josiah. How are we doing for time here? Quick little check. We have about 25 minutes here. I hope people are enjoying the questions. We'll keep going with these if you want.
Justin Nichols wants to know, was your gaming table custom made, the one you use for How to Play?
Sure. The table that I use right now was custom made by my wife's cousin's husband. He's a carpenter. Well, he's not a carpenter by trade necessarily, but he has some skill in that area. And so he made a fake top, basically. That's sitting on top of like a folding table. It's just the top that was custom made for it.
Same as this table, actually, right?
Yeah, it's the same as this table that we're on here.
Yeah.
It's one of those that we dropped.
So really, you could take that over here, and we could film on that here too.
Yeah, it's heavy. It is a beast of a top. There's a possibility that we'll have a new table actually on the channel soon, which is good.
I can have the old one?
Possibly. I was trying to figure, it's driving me nuts because I would line up the tripod and I would look and the table didn't look level. I think the things in the shot didn't look level and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I'd measure, everything was fine. What is going on? I got down at table level, floor level, and I looked and I realized my tabletop had warped. Because it's not attached to the legs and the rest of it, right? It's down in the basement. So I kind of need a new table, and so working on a new solution for that. So
it reminds me of my custom game table. Like my custom game table is all like laminated. I put laminate over.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
or not laminate, but like the sheets.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, and I put a grid underneath it so that it can be used for. So you play D&D and dry erase and everything. But the whole reason I even have that table is it was the old kitchen table from where I used to work. They left it out in the rain, actually, when they were like doing stuff, fixing the kitchen, and they were gonna throw it away. And I said, "Hey, I'll take it."
Table, yeah.
So like the table itself is very warped but it's covered in the plastic sheet.
You can't really tell. I've never really noticed. No, honestly.
If you run your hand over it,
Sure.
like your hand kind of gets a little wave thing going on, but it's not super easy to notice.
So those are table adventures for you. Soren123 wants to know who makes the best burgers, Dairy Queen or A&W.
A&W.
Neither of them. Those are both bad places for burgers.
I'd definitely pick A&W. Oh yeah, I don't think of either of them for hamburgers.
I get ice cream at Dairy Queen, and
root
A&W I just don't go to.
Well, then you'd like their burgers. Dairy Queen confuses me when someone says they want to go there for burgers.
I'm sure the burgers are fine at A&W.
Harvey's is
Harvey's is good for burgers. Were you gonna say no? They weren't.
No, I like Harvey's for if I'm gonna have like kind of like a fast foody burger.
Yeah.
I honestly just like
Arby's.
being able to ask for like 12 pickles.
I don't know what's up with Arby's. I've never liked Arby's.
No.
Do you like Arby's?
I guess I don't. Every time I go there, I think I'm going to enjoy it, and I guess I just really don't enjoy it as much as I think I would. So I love their advertising, though. They have amazing advertising.
Arby's. Is that what they do? Arby's.
You haven't seen Arby's advertising?
I haven't had cable for
No,
years.
I mean their internet
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh, they have amazing ads. I'll show you later.
Okay, good. Ooh, can't wait. Oh boy. What are you two shooting video on? We have the Logitech 920C, I believe, is what I bought. I have a couple of those for when we do live
Love
stuff.
that you can't remember the rules to games, but you can remember exactly what camera.
Yeah. Pad92011 wants to know, how come you were not on the Dice Tower cruise? I'd love to go on the Dice Tower cruise, or any cruise. Cruises are
Tom
awesome.
Cruise?
No, I don't want to go on Tom Cruise. If you piggyback me around, I guess. I mean,
well, he's pretty short.
That'd be something.
It'd be kind of like walking normally.
So true. I'm sure the Dice Tower cruise is going to be fantastic. I mean, why am I not on it? Because I'm not made of money, I guess. That's probably why. A cruise is actually, again, this is all relative.
It's one of the cheaper vacations.
It's one of the cheaper vacations if you don't have to build in flying from PEI down to Florida. That's where it kills you. In terms of what you'd pay for a hotel and food every day, I think it's actually less expensive. So for people who live down by the cruise ships, it's great to be able to hop on there and go.
Oh, I love this next one.
Again, that's all relative to your financial situation.
Sakis Har wants to just says it'd be fun if we made a gameplay video on a dexterity or balance game.
We have done that before, but it's been a while. I think we did the cranes on your face game.
Oh, Lift It. Yes, we did do Lift It.
And we've done a couple here on the live shows, but it's been a while. And I, at one point in time, thought it'd be fun to do Flick 'em Up, and it just didn't materialize. But that was a game that we did an instructional video for. We could certainly do a gameplay for.
Well, the major reason most dexterity games wouldn't make it onto the show is the sheer simplicity of them. Like, let's say Jenga, for example. You can't really teach Jenga, you know?
Okay. Sorry, I was just checking my phone because I thought it was my wife, and I just wanted to make sure it was, and I just wanted to make sure there was an emergency. I'm sure you said something very inspiring.
That's fair. I usually have a rule of phone that if it buzzes 3 times in a row, that means I have to check it. It doesn't matter what I'm doing.
Yeah, okay. You'll do after the 3 buzz check.
Yeah, because
it's good for me to know that in case I need to reach.
Yeah, I usually try to tell everyone I know that, like, it's, you know, if it's an emergency, buzz me 3 times.
Okay, yeah. I guess you would clarify if it's an emergency.
Although when people do it when it's not an emergency, it does grate on me sometimes, but I get used to it.
Andrew King wants to know, is that a glass of wine next to you? No, this is a glass of a nearly empty beverage.
No, my name's Pep.
How dare you? This is a human being. He's not a glass.
Games Made Easy wants to know, did you cringe and yell at the screen when watching the Dice Tower play damaged card incorrectly with Mech vs. Minions?
I was watching during part of that. I stopped before they started making mistakes. No, I don't yell anymore when they make mistakes. It's listen, to their credit, it's not easy to remember rules when you're doing a live video. It kind of looks like, hey, you just turn the camera on and you go, but some portion of your brain when you're doing that kind of content is thinking about other stuff, like how do we appear on camera? Are we being clear enough? Are we saying things clear enough? And it's extra stuff to take up part of your brain that is not paying attention to rules videos.
Do I look like a wine glass right now?
Do they sometimes not prepare as well as they could for some of the rules? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. But hey, that's my job.
Rod Boudreau wants to know. He was thinking of potioning.
Good job. He was thinking of purchasing Potion Explosion. What is your take on it?
I won't.
Listen, I'll tell you this. We have a video showing you exactly how to play it. I'd recommend you check it out.
Yeah, I won't say whether or not I like it or not, but I will say that it gets played a lot here.
There you go. That's a great. I do like to get.
And I know
answer.
multiple people who own the game.
I do like to answer that way. If people ask me, do you like the game? I will say, this is a game that hits my table quite often. Yeah. That's not usually a good measure for me. Excuse me, either, because sometimes I have games that I love a great deal. I just don't hit the table a lot.
Oh yeah, and there's definitely games that I almost hate that hit the table a lot.
That's right. So that's not even really a good.
Yeah, it's this we get played this a lot. I wish we didn't. But that's not true about Potion Explosion.
Jason asks, do you prefer games with more linear rules or ones that allow more player agency? Gosh, I wish I knew what he meant. It sounds like such an intelligent question. Linear rules. I like rules that are linear, but I'm not sure what you mean by player agency.
I think that the idea of the player agency is that the rules can be not necessarily interpreted in different ways, but can be used and manipulated in different ways. Like something with very linear rules would be like, do this, it does this. Do this, it does this. Whereas something with more agency
something
would
like D&D, maybe?
Well, yeah, D&D is a good example of something that have agency, but even a game where you can kind of like point salad games would have a little bit more agency. Like you don't necessarily have to go and do things the same way.
Like if you're asking a question like, do I prefer a sandbox game where there's I just do lots of everything compared to something where it's like you're following one or two strategies? I don't think that's what you're asking, so I don't know how to answer that question, Jason. It sounds like an interesting question, but I'm not really sure. Because when I think of player agency, I think of I'm in control of outcomes and how things work.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm not sure that's the comparison you're looking for, but anyway, sorry about that, Jason.
Ben Cartier wants to know what the last Kickstarter game we backed was.
The last Kickstarter game I backed was the Euphoria game. That is it's Good Cop, Bad Cop set in the Euphoria world, but changed. So not only changed thematically, but rules-wise as well, and the production on it looks fantastic. And I've played a lot of Good Cop, Bad Cop, so yeah.
Mine was I don't usually get games. There's a lot of non-games. Oh no, I guess Garbage Day was probably the most recent one.
Okay.
The most recent one I received was Takedo, but that was like the first thing I ever backed on Kickstarter, and I just recently received it. But I've ordered other stuff in between and gotten it. Garbage Day is the most recent, I think.
Yeah.
That game is garbage day.
And we played that here on the live show.
We did, yeah.
DJ Jenkins is not looking for an endorsement, but what are each of your guilty pleasure games?
Ooh.
Guilty pleasure games. So this is a game that maybe I'm not proud of really enjoying, I guess.
Like Strike.
No, I like that game.
Yeah, but would you tell people to go and buy it?
That's tricky because it's hard to get right now. So you'd be paying like $40 for it. I don't know if I'd recommend $40.
I would just throw dice in a bowl.
Don't I know, say that.
You get offended.
I'm very offended. No. Dice in the bowl is not Strike. You need an arena and you need gladiators. But
I think my guilty pleasure game is Scruples. Because it's super old.
Yeah.
There's not a lot going on, but it gets played quite a bit.
Mine would probably be Taboo then. I like Taboo, although I think that's a good game anyway. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know that I really have a guilty pleasure game because I think most of the games that I play are things that I would like say, hey, this is a good game or whatever. Like I wouldn't be ashamed to be playing it.
I mean, I'll also play something like Risk. I love Jenga. Like I will never refuse a game of Jenga. So
no, you won't.
No.
Or anything that's stacking that can fall over.
Yeah, I played Rhino Hero the other day. And it's like it's basically Jenga, but
Had you never played it before?
I had never played it until
I failed you. I'm sorry.
You haven't?
Oh yeah.
Oh, why didn't you Rhino Hero me?
Horrible friend.
I think yeah.
Let's talk about BGG Con for a little bit. We'll get back to these many great questions. Mansions of Madness. I played that twice at the show. I played it once. Let's see. Who did we play with? Marty, I think, and Rich, and Kevin, I believe. And we had a great time. That's a game we planned in advance to hopefully try to play. And Matt Evans brought his copy. It was pre-painted. And we ran through, I think, the second scenario. And Harvey Walters, that I played as, made a noble sacrifice, and the rest of the team won. Nice. So that was a lot of fun. It was great getting to play some more games with Rich, because we played games over Skype and we chat a fair bit, but playing in person we don't get to do very often. So that was a lot of fun to be able to do that as often as we did. Rich later borrowed the copy of the game to go play it, but the investigators had been removed. So when he played, they played with the Dixie cups they found in the room, and they wrote the names of the investigators on them, and they were moving Dixie cups around the board.
That's funny.
I thought that was fantastic. We also played the Arkham Horror LCG there. That was something else we prepared in advance. We were each going to build our own decks. So that was Rich and Eric Summer and myself and Marty. We all built decks. Eric had a deck provided for him. And then we played through the Ruru campaign. I forget what it was called, the Rougarou or something. And this was like a one-off that you could get from the Arkham Horror Nights, I think. And Rich had that. So we played that and lost horribly. But yeah, that was a fun time too.
And we actually got to play a single game together.
We did.
At BGG.
Terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars.
Yeah. That was one that was on my list of new games, although I was really looking forward to playing some games I already knew. Terraforming Mars, I really wanted to play. So many people have been buzzing about this game, right?
Yeah, it was something that I knew I basically had to get played while I was there, but I knew it was a longer game, so it was going to be difficult to find a time to
Yeah, and there was 5 of us playing.
We played a 5.
Chaz, you, me, Marty,
Matt.
Chaz, you, me, Matt, right?
Yeah.
And we had Keith Collins, Major Malfunction, teach us how to play. And then there was another guy who was kind of around at the same time. He stuck around for the first couple of rounds to help us with any rules that came up during that.
Yes.
And that made it very easy, easier to learn and get going. That's a game definitely I would consider doing an instructional video for. And I've been trying to track down a copy of it. It's sold out right now pretty much everywhere. I will say this, the one complaint that people raised that I've heard a lot, and I can't really disagree with, is the player mats aren't great because you have all these things you're tracking on there with cubes.
So many.
So if you bump or nudge it at all, they just, you lose it very easily.
Yeah.
Game Trays makes these amazing accessories. I don't mind advertising for gaming products because these things either work or they don't. And these game trays replace the board, and they just give you slots to actually fit the cubes in, as well as manage your cards and a whole bunch of other stuff. Really well thought through. This is the same guy who did the inserts for Mechs vs. Minions. So
yeah, the next morning after we had played, I remember running into Rich, and he had he was playing with those.
He had something else.
He had something else.
He had a different one, but
there's
a few different solutions people are making because this game desperately needs. But he had a good thing too. It's kind of like an acrylic, I think, cutout thing.
Yes.
To put them in, right?
Yeah, and it was like over top of the original.
Yeah.
And it was and I had thought, wow, I wish we had those for when we played.
Yeah, I'll mention one other game that I played from Stronghold Games was Great Western Trail. On the last day of the convention, the place is packed. Not the last day, the night before, I guess. The place is packed because they do the big giveaway. So everyone's kind of in that main hall. And it's almost impossible to get tables. We were very fortunate. The Geek and Sun people. Oh, sorry, I can't. Before you drag it back in, I'll just. I'll read.
It's perfect.
It might be. We'll keep an eye on here.
Well, let's just keep talking and look at ourselves.
Yes. It was very hard to get a table. Impossible, actually. And I really wanted a game in the main area. I didn't want to go hiding somewhere in a corner, right? So thankfully, the Geek and Sun people who were demoing tables there, they had a table, and I said, "Can we use this to play on?" And they very graciously said yes. And we played games on this. We're now seeing on screen when Pep earthquaked the table, and he actually got it back really well. So good job, Pep Foot.
No problem, Rodney.
Thank you. We played Great Western Trail. Let me see, who was that? It was me, Matt, Marty, and I forget the other gentleman's name. It's bugging me that I'm forgetting his name. He was fantastic. He worked with FFG, and we learned and played Great Western Trail together. Marty knew how to play, and he taught us. He did a fantastic job teaching the game. And it probably took us about 4 hours to play, but let's just say I got home and I ordered it, so you can take from that what you want. You pulling me over? You think we're off screen?
I'm just centering us a little bit.
So that was another game that I was really glad to have gotten a play of. Anything else you want to mention before we move on from BGG?
King Domino hit me right near the end. I got to play that, which was really interesting.
Okay.
Cottage Garden. Patchwork for 3 to 4 players, essentially, but not really.
But not really. It's a different game.
It's a very different game.
Some similar elements.
Yeah, like if you liked Patchwork but want to play it with 3 to 4 people, I would suggest trying out Cottage Garden. I guess that sounds reviewy. Wonky. Played Wonky, and
check it out.
Yeah, I recommend you check it out. But yeah, Wonky was. I love Jenga, so of course I'm gonna love.
What is Wonky?
You what? Okay, so it's just these squares, those little, medium, and big squares.
Okay.
But they're not quite squares. The cubes are a little bit wonky, you could say, because they're like shaved on edges, and so you can't really stack them properly. You have to angle them, and so you play cards, and the card will dictate what color or size of cube you need to use. And some of them are like rainbow. You can do whatever color, etc. And you're basically just trying to empty your hand of cards. And if you knock the thing over, I think you draw cards.
Okay.
I forget how many it is because it's and it comes with little things too where there's little rules that you have to follow while playing.
Do you remember the publisher by any chance?
Yeah.
I haven't heard of this game.
It's USAopoly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, maybe we'll get a chance to.
we
try that.
That would be great to play on the show.
Oh yeah, we can play it on here.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Live show.
Do you have it?
I don't.
Okay.
Well, I wish. I should just grab one of them while I was there.
I should mention I did have a game here for us to play. There's not going to be enough time for it, so maybe next time we will. This is a game called Avenue, and actually Rado from Rado Runs Through, he actually played this live with his viewers, and I thought I jumped into his stream when he was playing. I wasn't able to watch the whole thing, but I saw it. I thought this looks interesting. And then at BGG Con, Fun Again Games was selling a bunch of stuff they brought over from Essen, and I saw this game there. And I said, this looks like that game, and sure enough, it was. And I think it would be one that we could play with the viewers, actually play against you guys even. So that would be fun to do on the next time we do a live show, perhaps. All right. I don't think there's any other games I want to mention necessarily. I mean, there's other ones here I could mention. Paul Dean from Shut Up and Sit Down, he roomed with us on one of the nights, and he's a funny and friendly chap. It's funny. We got a group picture together, and he was like crouched down, and we were like, "Why are you crouching down?" Someone on the internet had said at some point in time that they started spreading this rumor he's like 5'3", which is not true. And so now he's just trying to reaffirm that rumor by like always appearing shorter in pictures.
That's funny.
Which I thought was pretty cute. I could tell you about games like Insider and Mask of Anubis, but I won't. Late night party gaming and some beverage drinking and just having a good time.
Do we have any questions from the guild that we should be answering?
Oh, probably. I will mention, just the last thing I will say, I left BGG Con on my birthday. Usually my birthday is like over the con, but on the last day was my birthday, and it was really cool. I ran into the little Canadian contingent leaving for Canada as well in the airport, and Debbie O, who's does a lot of great children's books and artwork and that, she drew me on the spot a little birthday card. It was really sweet. Yeah, it was really nice.
That's great.
And so her and her husband Jeff, and it was nice to see them on the plane and sort of send off. But a big thanks to Scott Alden and all the people at BGG Con who make that convention sort of what it is, really, which is a great several days of just doing the thing that this hobby is about, which is playing games, meeting new people, and having fun. So a really good convention. I definitely recommend people attend it if they have the opportunity.
Yeah, it was my first time, and I had so much fun.
Despite the fact that you were dying the whole time.
I was dying. I was super sick the whole time, but yeah, I had tons of fun. And the biggest surprise for me, you didn't tell me this going there, and maybe I just didn't read things. But I got there and I got in line, and halfway through the line, they're like, yeah, pick out what games you're going to be taking. And it's like, whoa, I get free games?
You get free games too. Yeah.
Like, I mean, sure, I had to pay to go there, but I mean, I walked away with one of the new, or not the newest Pathfinder, but the second newest Pathfinder base set. Yeah, Wrath of the Righteous. I'm like, cool.
They have loads of free games. So you can like grab one from this shelf, grab one from that shelf kind of deal, right?
Yeah, so I grabbed a couple, that one, Meteor, and
Hex XL or something, or Hex
Hexcasters. Well, they handed me Hexcasters.
Yeah. Well, that is one they were giving away there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They have lots of giveaways. They have lots of prizes, lots of events you can go to as well.
That reminds me, because the game came up, Tada. Someone asked about games that make you laugh.
Sure.
Recently, especially. Tada and Hexcasters were great for making making people laugh. Like the whole,
Yes.
when you have to roll dice with your elbows on the table, especially when someone had already played something on you and you have to have your elbows on your table. And,
while you're doing something else.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
while you have the head on your table too, and it's just impossible.
Yeah, that game's about being ridiculous.
It was super ridiculous, yeah.
Okay, so you asked, did anyone on the guild ask questions? And yes, they did. We should probably try to answer a couple of them.
At least 4.
At least we don't have time for 4. We actually only have time for 1. Unfortunately, I apologize, guild friends. I will do my best to maybe save these questions for the next one.
We have to do the yes/no thing afterwards, at least.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saving the time for that. Daniel. So we're almost done here, guys. We're going to give it about 5 more minutes, and then we'll end the show. So thanks for sticking around.
We're just doing the first one?
We'll just do the first one here. Daniel, Daniel asks, can you tell, mid-rules explanation, if the people you are teaching will love the game or not? Is there anything that would cause you to box a game up before finishing the rules and trying something else?
I've done that.
Yeah, excellent question. Really, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And I've done that.
What caused you to box up the game and say, all right, this isn't going to work?
Yeah, it's basically just looking around and seeing if there's vacant looks on everyone's faces, like they don't understand what's going on. Especially if, while I'm reading at the same time, I'm not fully understanding the rules. Like if it's my first time reading through the rules, trying to teach the game, and I'm not quite fully understanding it.
So there's factor number 1. If you, as the teacher, are like, I'm not getting this.
I'm not working. Yeah.
That's a great reason to box it up. If the other people seem to have disconnected from, trying to learn or whatever, yes, it seems like another good. Sometimes I've had it happen. This is really unfortunate. You're sitting down, you've got the perfect group to play the game with, and then someone shows up who wants to play the game, and you're like, this game I don't think is going to work for you, but you're not going to want a game by yourself, and no one wants to leave this game. So it's like, maybe we hadn't started yet. We'll put this away and we'll play something different. Just maybe because the other person, this is not going to be their kind of game, or or even just, hey, one more person at this table turns this game into an extra hour long. Doesn't matter who you are. It's just another person increases the length of this game more than what we want.
Oh yeah, I've gotten all the way through rules explanations just to have 2 more people walk in the door, and then all right, let's just split into 2 groups and play 2 other games we already know.
Right.
And it's happened.
Thank you for your question, Daniel, and thanks to the rest of you guys for being patient, waiting for our next live Q&A. We had BGG Con, we had power outages, we had all kinds of nonsense
power
going on.
outage.
Oh, it's been quite a gong show around here, but we want to get back to the live Q&As. Hopefully you guys enjoy them as much as we enjoy making them.
Do we want to yes/no these ones first?
No, because some of these, I think it's probably worth going back. Oh, okay, we can yes/no a couple of these very quickly. Charles Fox asks, are we going to be seeing more table talk?
Yes. Oh, what?
I mean, yeah. The answer would be yes, we'd like to. I don't have any plans in the schedule yet to do more, but I often think, this would be a great topic for a table talk. But I have an instructional video to do, or I have a gameplay to do, and so that's what ends up taking the thing.
I actually enjoy these live shows a lot more than doing the table talks. I don't necessarily enjoy them more, but you know what I mean.
They're a different kind of work. Like this, we sit down, I prepare stuff in advance, takes time to set up, but then when it's done, it's done. With table talk, it's like we've shot it for a couple of hours, now we need to go edit that. Then I liked having the viewers be a part of it, so then getting in their stuff and editing their content, and it all is kind of time consuming. Not in a bad way, but it's like you have to create time for that, though, if you're going to do it.
Yeah, so I'd almost really like the idea of doing a live show where we specifically do a
table talk. Here's a topic. Let's talk about that one thing. Yeah, I like that idea, too.
Because, there's the one thing we talked about that we probably just spent 15, 20 minutes on halfway through the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if we knew ahead of time what we were talking about and Pete basically said, these are the questions, like ask questions about this, I feel like that could be really fun back and forth dialogue.
Chaz over at Paradise does something similar to that already, and it's really good. He'll have a topic prepared. He's sort of mentally thought about what he wants to share on the topic, and I think he breaks it up into kind of chunks. I've watched them, and he'll break them up into kind of 3 chunks of the topic. Too. Yeah, and then he'll give his spiel on it, and then turn over to the audience to look at what they've said. He'll respond to that, and then he'll sort of go on and talk further about the topic from another angle or whatever. So definitely, if you guys aren't watching Paradise, check out that show. And if you do enjoy that show, right now he's doing a fundraiser for his, I don't know what season he's calling it right now, but he's for his current season of the show, and I definitely recommend you support him. He does incredible content. So let's just see, there's some quick ones here. Dave Thomas asked, what happened to Pep Talk? He was asking because we talked about there being a Pep Talk segment, and we haven't done one yet. We're doing one, right?
Yeah, it is filmed.
Yeah, it is. We have one filmed, and we were waiting on the animated intro. We now have that in, but things are busy. We're doing all this other content, but it is something that's definitely going to happen. I'm just trying to see if there's any quick. Ryan Ballinger asked, do you have any news on the Watch It Play dice tray being available for sale from Daedalus? Yeah, I was actually talking to Ben from Daedalus right now. We offered a dice tray during the last season's, not the last season's fundraiser, but the last season's fundraiser. And yes, manufacturing those was not a walk in the park. So there's some things we want to do to improve that, which might require him to get a couple of additional tools. We talked about that today and some ideas we have for that. So yes, my hope is that we'll be able to have those available in the future as well. Dan Zielinski asked, I'm curious if after the script that you write for an instructional video, if you follow it with an audio voice recording, or do you do video segments before audio? I do the audio and the video at the same time. When you see the hands moving around, my voice is, my mouth is flapping at the same time. I'm saying it all. Same with Pep. We do this. We talk and we move the hands. It's all at once.
Very rarely there'll be moments where it's just, this is too complicated to record both, and we might record one and then do the voice.
It's more like, okay, I'm on take 30. I do not seem to have the ability to say it and move my hands at the same time. So I'll move my hands and then I'll just say it immediately in that clip and then overlap them. But that's very infrequent.
Yeah.
And then occasionally there'll be, oh, we made a mistake. The video's fine, the audio's off, so I have to go re-record a sentence or something like that. But otherwise, everything's done simultaneously. Okay, we'll stop there because now it's one of my favorite parts of the live show.
Me too.
Rapid fire. We just run through, we answer yes or no to all your questions, even if yes or no is not the right answer to the question. And of course, if you prefer a lengthier reply to those questions, feel free to bring them back later. Ivan Conrad asks, any interest in Kingdom Death Monster 1.5? No. Yeah, it's no. It's not no. It's just no. It's a lot of miniatures to assemble. Trevor Cummings writes, any tips for keeping people focused during the rules explanation? Yes. My game group is like an unruly gang of school kids. Yes. Say their names, maintain eye contact, stand up, speak louder, make sure you enforce people can't be on their phones while you're giving the rules instructions, or stop when they are. That was not a yes or no question, but it felt like a big question.
I know. I do that too. Alex F says, what's the game you enjoy playing the most in a power outage? Twister.
Okay. We played, what did we play in the power outage recently? I'm forgetting. I played something with Luke. I think we played Fabled Fruit.
I just cheated and went to where there was power, so.
Robert asks, what is your favorite genre in board games? Yes. Many. Jacob asks, is the no personal opinions on games rule a watch it played encompassing rule? Is PEP bound by the same restrictions? Yes, on the channel. Sort of.
No.
Bento Wiesen asks, is there any chance we could get a Forbidden Stars tutorial? No.
No.
How about adding that as a stretch goal if you do a Kickstarter? It's
No.
out of print. No. Looking for questions. We're doing all right, keeping up with everything, it looks like.
Grim wants to know, what's your favorite go-to role in Pandemic? Doctor.
Yeah, medic.
Medic, yes. Yeah. Also, no. See, I love those kind of questions.
Yeah, those are like, you can actually, it's either one answer, maybe the rule should be, it's either one word or yes or no.
No, but I mean, I like those kind of questions because, like, you and usually I won't talk about our opinions on a game.
But that's something.
If it's specific about a game, like what is do you think the best role
that we played the game,
is?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'll answer what I think the best role in a game is.
David the Bird. Question, then you ever play Arkham LCG?
No. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, we played it, if that's what you're asking.
Yes.
And David further clarified that, and yes, we have both played it.
David also wants to know if we'll ever come to London. No.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it says, do you ever? Either way, it's still no.
No. But yes, I hope to sometime.
Oh.
There's Chaz. Yay, the escape room
Chaz.
was fantastic. David wants us to play. That's not a question. Question. Please play or do a run through of Arkham Horror. No. That's not an opinion on the game. It's just
Adam Bishop wants to know how the internet is. In Ontario, they have unlimited 30 megabytes for $70. I have 50 megs. It's a little bit more than that, but it's 50 meg up and down, though, which is amazing.
Okay, I think we're getting to the end here. Andrew Kane, do you celebrate Boxing Day?
I celebrate it by buying things.
It's a day.
Yeah. I don't watch boxing, though, if that's what you're supposed to do.
The Kilted Crow, is it really a Q&A if they're not answering your questions? Yes.
Paradise wants to know.
Oh, what does he want to know? Did I lose him? I think I lost. I lost you, Paradise. I think there's just so many questions, it's almost impossible for us to do our yes-no here even. There's just so many questions.
Agricola or Caverna? Caverna, favorite abstract game.
We don't do favorites. Don't answer that question. Don't answer that question. I don't want to encourage it.
What game are you playing with Luke right now? Fabled Fruit.
Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition.
That too.
Okay.
Do you play old games like Monopoly?
Not Monopoly, but yes.
Some things like Monopoly, yeah.
Wow, there's so many like good questions that we couldn't yes-no them like we sometimes can.
I know. Oh.
Like, these were all like kind of chunky questions. So, listen, guys, we need to wrap it up right here. That was about an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half. Thanks for joining us once again for another one of these live sessions. It's always a treat for us, and hopefully you guys enjoy it as well.
Could you do something for me really quick?
Yeah, what's
Can
that?
you say thrown car?
In what context?
I don't know. That's just someone asked it, and I wanted
thrown car.
You're welcome, Tom.
Okay. Glad to just get another one of those questions out of the way.
Throne card. But, we do play Hearthstone, both of us.
Yes, we do.
Find us.
And Overwatch.
I don't play Overwatch.
And what have I started playing recently? I just played with Luke Overcooked. It's a couch-only co-op game. Oh. And boy, did we have a lot of fun our first play of it. We were just cackling while playing that game.
What? You have to play it on the couch?
You should come over and play it. We should play that game together. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Clear your schedule. Clear it. Okay.
Schedule cleared.
Right. Listen, everyone, again, for the 5th time, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode, whenever that is. Until then, I had to...
Until then, thanks for watching again.
For the 6th time, and one last time. Until the next episode, thanks for
Miracle
watching.
Whip.
What? That's not even a thing.